Glass blowing is one of the most well-known glass shaping techniques, and I'm here today at Louisville Glass Works to see how it's done. I'm hitting the road, searching for answers, and finding great design. It's a quest for beauty, function, and of course, inspiration. Glass blowing is like nothing else I've ever seen. There's suspense, tension, danger. After all, they are working with fire. And of course, craftsmanship that you would not believe. And all of that to make a beautiful piece of art that is so fragile it breaks with one wrong move. Needless to say, I could have watched it all day long. But I eventually had to pick my jaw off the ground and do my job, learn about the process. So here's what I found out from glass artist Casey Hyland. Glass blowing started centuries ago as a Roman art.
And I believe Rome was really the one that kind of, like if we were to go back like 2,000 years, I mean, you would see a setup very similar to this.
Really?
I mean, as far as like the hand tools, the bench, sort of the whole working environment, obviously they wouldn't have controllers, etc.
Yeah.
You know, on their furnaces like we have them, but not much.
Similar?
Not much has changed I'd say,
that's
2,000
incredible.
years. It is pretty incredible. Well, that's one of the captivating things. I think one of the more captivating moments about glass blowing is that not only is it a fire art, but it is a relatively ancient, might not be the best word, but it is, you know, an old art.
And a fire art it is. Glass blowing artists work in what is called a hot shop, which is a very appropriate name.
This is what's considered the hot shop.
Yeah, it's really hot right here.
Yeah, right in front of us with the square door. This is the furnace, and this is where the material is being held. In this case, we have like a large ceramic bowl that's actually holding the molten material. So have you checked out to see how hot it is?
I don't think I want to. I feel like I have a piece of bread and oh my gosh, that is hot. Yes, I felt like my face was melting off.
So it's pretty warm.
How do you get by that all day?
You just keep the door shut as much as possible. So the working temperature of the furnace is about 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Is it miserable in the summer?
It's warm. You know, winter is nice.
I heard that it gets 110 in here in the summer.
I believe it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It is amazing. And then once we've gathered the material from the furnace, we use this other piece of equipment that's also hot with these round doors. We call it a glory hole or like a reheating drum. And again, the temperature of this is probably actually a little bit hotter than the furnace, probably around 2250 Fahrenheit. And this allows us to make larger pieces and to work a piece for a long time. So like for example, if we wanted to put color on the piece like we have with the lamp fixture, we can come over here with the molten material, gather in this case like colored glass chunks, and then we can go back into this reheating drum and melt it in order to continue through the piece. The way that we start almost every piece, we start with a hollow tube that we call a blowpipe. So this is just like a big metal straw basically.
I know. It does look like they're doing something illegal when they use the blowpipe. But trust me, glass blowing is perfectly wholesome.
And on the tip of this is where we'll actually gather the glass, just pretty much just like honey, onto this to make just like a little ball.
So then, does it get hot down there when you're blowing it?
Well,
it's metal?
It can get hot. I mean, we do cool it down with water. That's what these cans are here for, so we can cool this down. And as we continue to work the piece, the pipe, you know, it can get warm, but it is 4 feet, and so the heat doesn't transfer. I mean, I wouldn't want to put my hand all the way down there.
But your lips don't burn.
The lips don't burn.
Because that is what I would be afraid of. Oh, and the fact that the glass is over 2,000 degrees, that's pretty impressive. But these artists know what they're doing. And after gathering glass from the furnace with the blowpipe, the next step is to apply colored glass. Once the colored glass is on, it's time to form the glass.
And then using the steel table, the newspaper, the wooden blocks, and the other hand tools that we have, begin to shape that molten mass to where that we can control by blowing, by using gravity, by using the heat from the glory hole to begin shaping, in this case, the vessel that we want.
And those tools he was talking about are pretty cool. So then, how does each tool work? What does each one do? Well,
in this case, like, you know, this is just a fruit wood block. In this case, it helps us to shape it, and it cools the surface of the glass down so that we can get the core, in this case, the core of the glass hot so that it blows out evenly. We can use one of these raggedy old newspaper pads, and it kind of, you know, it acts as our hand.
he's not kidding. A wet newspaper is literally the only thing put between his hand and the molten glass. The water keeps his hand from burning, while the ashes allow the newspaper to slide easily over the glass. Unbelievable, I know.
These are what are called jacks. As you saw when I was making the piece, I used this tool to separate the piece from the pipe so that we could transfer it to the punny. You could also use these for shaping, making straight edges, etc. Then you just have your other handled tools, just sort of different shape tools. This allows us to cut, to grab. This is like a large pair of tweezers that we can also cut the glass. And then we just have your standard sort of tweezers that allows you to pick and just to pick it and stuff.
So then what does that thing do?
And this is a Sophietta. Typically after we've transferred the piece and we still want to shape it, well, we don't have a blow pipe to blow into it anymore. So in this case, with the help of an assistant, we can use the heat in the material and insert this into the end and blow into it, and that'll allow us to fill it out so that we can get to the shape. Like with the lamp fixture, for example, I was able to begin shaping the shoulder so that it was the right diameter that I wanted.
So after you get it all shaped in the way you want it, what do you do with it then?
Well, once it's actually shaped and finished, it's still relatively hot. It's still probably about 1,000 degrees or so. And so I just couldn't just leave it out on the table, or just because of thermal shock it would crack. So when we're finished, we put it in a annealer. In this case, it has electrical elements in it that keeps it at about 900 degrees. And it'll stay in there for about 12 hours, or basically overnight,
really?
To cool down slowly.
Does that harden it?
Well, no, it doesn't harden it. It goes through a process that's called annealing. And annealing is taking something from a high temperature to a lower temperature slowly to relieve all the stresses related to the heat.
And after the blown glass has cooled off, you're left with a beautiful piece of art. But just between you and me, I still think the glass blowing process is more captivating. And now, when I look at a piece of blown glass, it's that much cooler because I know how it's made. For extra information about where I've been and what I've learned, visit my website, www.askthedecorator.com.